Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. She looked at my calendar on the fridge, drew a line through Friday, and said, "Don't plan anything cute. I'm busy." No eye contact. No smile. Just a scratch of marker and the thud of the fridge door. Busy with what? I asked, still holding the little envelope I'd bought, a printed reservation for the steakhouse by the river. "Stuff," she answered, walking past me. "Don't do the needy thing, Mark." If I'd known where it was headed, I would have kept the envelope in the glove box and saved myself the effort of trying to be the last gentleman left in our zip code. That night, I still tried. I told her I'd booked a table anyway, said we could talk, reset. She tilted her head like I'd told a joke at a funeral. "You don't get it," she said. "I don't want some performance." "It's dinner," I replied. "Not a proposal." Hard pass. She threw back, scrolling her phone. "You should have asked me before deciding for both of us." I did ask. "You said busy with stuff." "Exactly." I stood there for half a beat. Then I slid the envelope into the drawer by the sink. The sound of it hitting spoons and rubber bands said more than I did. I washed my hands, dried them, and grabbed my keys. "Jim," I said. "Congrats," she muttered. "Work on you." "Already started." On the way out, the fridge calendar stared at me like a scoreboard. I decided if she wanted distance, I'd measure it in miles, hours, and decisions. Not a threat, just a plan. The next morning, I woke before her, made coffee, and left for the shop early. I manage a small fabrication place off the highway, metalwork, clean lines, repeat clients. The guys there don't do drama. Steel either fits or it doesn't. That's why I like it. Jake, my lead welder, caught me staring at a parts list longer than it should have been. "You look like somebody refunded your weekend," he said, tapping the clipboard with a gloved finger. "Calendar got edited," I answered. "By who?" "A pen with opinions." He whistled. "That new pen got legs and an Instagram." "She's got more than that," I said, tossing the clipboard to the bench. "A lot of busy." "Uh-huh." He pulled his hood down. "So what's the move?" "Separate lanes," I told him. "I'm done planning around question marks." That night, I cooked. A simple thing, chicken, roasted vegetables. I plated it and set it on the table. She came in late, hair perfect, perfume too fresh for traffic. "You eat?" I asked. "I'm not hungry," she said, slipping off her heels. Meeting ran long. "Meeting with who?" "You don't know them." "Give me a letter. I'll keep it on a post-it." She smirked, checking her face in the dark TV screen. "You always need a label for everything." "I need timelines. Labels are extra." She sat, stared at the plate in front of her, then pushed it away with one finger. "This is pressure." "Dinner is pressure," I repeated. "New metric. You think you can cook your way back to something." "I think we've stopped talking like teammates," I said evenly. So I tried something normal. "Rituals keep things from falling apart." "Rituals are control," she replied. "Interesting definition." She looked at the door, like she'd rather be anywhere else. "I'm going to shower." I watched her walk down the hall. I got up, put her plate in the fridge, covered it with foil. That was the last night I put a plate down for both of us without checking if the other seat was even occupied. The next day, I set up a separate account for the shop profits. Mine. I moved the household bills to auto-pay from a fixed amount and sent her a text. "Shared expenses will be covered from the joint account up to X monthly. Extra once, separate. Schedules on the fridge. My hours shift earlier. If you're running late, let me know day of. No assumptions." She wrote back, "Wow. You typed that with your jaw clenched?" I answered, "Typed it with a calculator." At the shop, I split our old joint subscription renewals, canceled anything we weren't both using, and told Jake to cover Friday because I had personal logistics. He raised an eyebrow. "You changing the locks on something?" he asked. "Just expectations." That weekend, a neighbor invited us to a backyard thing. Cornhole, cheap beer, kids and sprinklers. I told her at breakfast, nothing dramatic. Saturday at 6. The Cullens. We're on the group text. She didn't look up from her phone. "I'm not going." "Then I'll stop by for an hour and head to the shop." She squinted. "So you'll go without me?" "I'll live." "You're making me look like the bad guy." "You're doing that fine on your own," I said, standing. "This is me not covering for it." She blinked. "Wow. Truth has a tone." It's not my favorite either. At the Cullens, Tommy from across the street asked, "Where's the boss?" Meaning my wife. He's the kind who grins at his own punchlines. "Busy," I said, tossing a beanbag and missing on purpose. "She's got a full dance card." Tommy laughed. You two always seem solid. We are. We just stopped performing for the bleachers. He clapped my shoulder. Respect. Back home that night, she was on the couch with Emily, her closest friend. Emily gave me a tight smile. We were just talking about boundaries, Emily said, as if I had wandered into a seminar. How everybody needs a little space. Space is cheap, I said. Respect is the currency. My wife rolled her eyes. Here we go. I sat across from them, not too close. I'm done guessing what you want, I told her. Tell me straight, or I'll make my own plans. Emily's eyes bounced between us like she was watching a match. My wife laughed softly. You act like I owe you a schedule, she said. You owe this house honesty, I replied. 2 adults. Same roof. Emily tilted her head. Maybe don't corner her. I cut her off without heat. I'm not cornering anyone. I'm drawing the floor plan. My wife got up. This is why I don't tell you things. Or, I said, you don't tell me because you know I'll change the terms. She paused, met my eyes. You love control. I love clarity. Emily stood, picking up her bag. I'll text you, she told my wife, avoiding my gaze. The air had a sourness that wasn't from the kitchen. When the door closed, my wife set her hands on her hips. You embarrassed me by telling the truth in my own living room. You had to say that in front of her. Yes, I said. Witnesses help people remember. Her mouth twitched. She didn't like hearing that I'd stopped being her quiet stagehand. 2 days later, she played soft. Detour. I'm sorry I was snippy, she said, placing a coffee next to my keys before work. Work's been a lot. I know you've been trying. Okay, I answered, tasting the coffee. Good. A hint of vanilla. I appreciate the coffee. I missed us, she added, leaning on the counter. Maybe we can do something low-key Friday. No reservations, no pressure. I nodded. Friday I'm at the shop late. Saturday morning, diner. 10. She frowned. Saturday then text me a time. But if you change it last minute, I'm not pivoting. Her apology had a timer on it. By Thursday night the coffee gesture was gone, and Friday she came home at 11:30 with no explanation, humming someone else's tune. Saturday came and went without a text. I took my truck for a long drive instead, put on talk radio loud enough to drown out second guessing, and stopped at a roadside burger shack that tasted like my 20s. Back at the house, I made a list. Investigator. Timeline. Evidence. Steps. When you manage jobs, you learn to move before the crack becomes a fracture. I looked up a licensed guy public side. Local, discreet, former military. His name was Dalton. We met at a diner 2 towns over. He had the kind of face that didn't look out of place anywhere. You sure you want a file? He asked, stirring his coffee. Files write themselves into your head. I want clarity, I said. The kind that holds up when someone tells you you imagined it. He slid a card across the table. Give me routines, names, usual haunts. I'll update you without noise. I don't need play-by-plays, I told him. Just the report. 2 weeks of cool mornings and colder evenings passed. My wife turned everything into a small test. If I prepped dinner, she ate out. If I was quiet, she accused me of sulking. If I spoke up, I was starting. If I asked about her late nights, she said, don't police me. So I stopped asking. I adjusted. I took my workouts earlier, started going to a different gym where an old friend ran the place. I closed the shop a half hour before sundown and went for walks alone. I told the guys in the shop to route all non-urgent calls to email. I trimmed anything that felt like chasing. One night at the gym, my buddy Ray handed me a towel and nodded to the TV on the wall. A local news segment about small businesses asked him a couple questions. He pointed the remote at me like a mic. You look checked out, man, he said after. Everything good at home? Everything is organized, I replied. He snorted. That's not what I asked. I'm done with improvisation, I said. People who talk in maybes get filtered. Ray leaned on the counter. You don't filter people you want to keep. Exactly, I said. That's the point. I left the gym lighter. Not happier, just aligned. At home, she sat at the table with a notebook, pen lids scattered like confetti. She didn't look up. What's that? I asked, picking up mail from the counter. Budget, she replied. I'm optimizing. Great, I said. Use the joint cap. Anything extra, we settle separately. She raised an eyebrow. You really think you get to set caps? I already did, I told her. It works unless you want to subsidize my hobbies too. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. She clicked her pen. You're being petty. I'm being clear. No, you're being punitive. Words with P don't change the math, I said. You asked what the plan was. That's the plan. She scribbled something and then, without looking at me, smirked. Maybe you should talk to Emily's husband. He's nice about these things. Is he? I asked. Yeah, he listens. I'm happy for Emily, I said, flipping the electric bill into my pile. If she's getting more words at home. I noticed then that she'd started staying late on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She'd leave at 6, come back after 10, same perfume every time, the one she wore when she wanted to be noticed by strangers. When you're done pretending, patterns jump out like road signs. I didn't chase. I wrote down the nights quietly. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday once. I put them on Dalton's list when he called for an update. He didn't say much. Got it, he said. 2 weeks. The next day, she tried Act 2 of softening. Bigger, brighter. She came to the shop with lunch. Actual takeout from the place I like near the river. She set it down and kissed my cheek like old times. Jake looked up, eyebrows in his hairline, then wisely went back to welding. I wanted to surprise you, she said, opening the bag. I know I've been distant. We've both been busy, I said, wiping my hands. I didn't let my guard drop. I ate, thanked her. We could take a weekend, she suggested. Change of scene. Can't, I told her. Quarterly orders are stacked. She pouted. You never say yes to anything fun anymore. I say yes to anything real, I replied quiet. I don't do vacation from problems. She rolled her eyes, then pretended to be wounded. You're so suspicious. I'm so observant, I corrected. There's a difference. She left with a disappointed sigh that looked rehearsed. As soon as the door clicked, Jake walked over. That lunch came with strings, he said. All I heard was a violin, I answered. Be careful, he warned. I've seen heads roll slower. Me too, I said. I'm done waiting for the blade. Dalton called on a Wednesday morning. Shop fans humming, coffee half cold. Got your report, he said. Do you want it emailed or in person? In person, I answered. Less noise. We met in the same diner. He brought a slim folder and the face of someone who'd rather deliver a new alternator than a diagnosis. He slid the folder across. You're a straight shooter, he said. So I'll be straight. Patterns are consistent. Same car shows up. Same locations. Twice a week minimum. Couple of daytime meetings. Names matched. Dates, times, photos from public spaces. There's no room for you misread it. I opened the folder. There she was, clear as a receipt. My wife with Emily's husband at a cafe near the lake, then outside a hotel 2 exits down, then walking into a condo building downtown. Different days, same orbit. I didn't blink. Dalton watched me. You okay? I'm steady, I said. You want me to keep tracking? No, I answered. This is enough. He nodded. You know your next steps? I've been writing them for a month. I paid the check. On the way out, he put a hand on the folder. You didn't deserve this. I don't do desserts, I said. I do consequences. Back at the shop, I called a lawyer I knew by reputation, clean, direct, no theater. We met that afternoon in his office, a place with no art, just neat piles. He listened, read the report quietly, asked 3 questions, and then gave me a plan. We file, he said. We keep you calm. We gather assets and proof of separate funds. Don't tip her. If she thinks she's walking you into a negotiation, she'll overplay her hand. Let her think she's ahead. I can do calm, I told him. I won't do blind. Good, he said. One more thing. No hero speeches. I know you want to say something. Don't. Silence buys you leverage. That might be the hardest part. Then consider it a job, he replied. You manage schedules. Manage this. I nodded. Send me the papers. I'll follow your lead. He smiled. I like clients like you. We filed. I went home. I made dinner for myself. She came in at 10:15, humming again, hair wind polished. You made something? She asked, eyeing the pan. For me, I said. You ate? Yeah. Work dinner. On a Wednesday, I noted. What? People don't eat on Wednesdays. She smirked, kissed me lightly like a favor. You're prickly. I'm precise. You're boring. Then you're free to find excitement somewhere else, I said, and we both knew she already had. The next day, the kill turn arrived not with slamming doors, but with ringtone. I was at the shop going through invoices when my phone lit up with her name. I answered, expecting another "don't wait up." You're on speaker, she said right away, her voice bright. The girls want to hear your reaction. I glanced at Jake and walked to the side office. To what? I'm at a lawyer's, she said, something like a laugh in her words. Finishing up the paperwork. Paperwork for what? For ending this, she replied, and I heard a chorus of female chuckles in the background. One laugh cut through, familiar. Emily, loud and confident. I let a beat pass. Oh, that's Emily, I said, smiling to myself. Thought I recognized the soundtrack. There was a tiny glitch on the line. My wife's tone shifted. Yeah, and I'm guessing she still doesn't know you've been meeting her husband twice a week, I said, easy as weather. Silence detonated. The background laughs died mid-exhale. Someone whispered, what? Then a sharper voice. Emily, brittle. What does he mean? What is he saying? I laughed once, short, and hung up. Then I called my lawyer, told him exactly what I'd done, word for word. He listened, then exhaled through his nose. Okay, he said. Not ideal, but not fatal. Paperwork's already out. It should hit your mailbox today. Perfect timing. Pick it up. You can hand it to her yourself. One more thing. You're in the clear to ask her to leave now. If she refuses, loop me in. I'll make a call. Copy, I said. I'll keep it short. Do. And record nothing except what we need. I ended the call. Jake looked at me through the office window like I'd just adjusted a machine that had been rattling all month. You look lighter, he said as I stepped out. I'm done investing in maybes, I told him. I've got paperwork on the way. He nodded. Finish strong. I left the shop early. The mailbox clanged when I opened it. Thick envelope. My name, her name. I slid it under my arm, walked inside, and saw the empty house. Lights off, a glass rim on the coffee table, a pair of heels half kicked under a chair. Her car wasn't out front. Empty house means opportunity. I grabbed our biggest suitcase and her smaller carry-on, opened the closet, and started with the obvious. Dresses she used for long dinners, the shoes with the red soles she bought with a straight face, the makeup bag labeled in glitter. Bathroom next. Hair dryer, a dozen bottles I couldn't pronounce. I stacked neat piles. No rage, just sorting. I took a breath, then unscrewed the old deadbolt with my drill and replaced it with a new one from the garage kit, the kind we use at the shop. 10 minutes. Smooth. I texted my lawyer a single word. Done. The sun dropped as I lined the suitcases by the door. Her car pulled in. I stood in the entry and waited. She tried the knob. The door didn't turn. A pause. Then a knock. Then another. Faster. Mark, she called. Why is the door locked? I opened it halfway. She saw the luggage before she saw my face. Her mascara already looked smudged, like she'd been crying in the car. Her voice softened into a whine. What is this? You have mail? I said, holding up the envelope. Papers from my lawyer. They match what you were laughing about earlier. Her jaw worked. You can't just. I can, I replied. You're packed. You're going to your next plan. Tears. Can we please talk inside? People can see. I know, I said. Witnesses help people remember. She reached out, fingers shaking. I made a mistake. We can fix it. Your mistake had a schedule and a map, I told her. This is the fix. She swallowed. You're being cruel. I'm being clear, I said again. Clarity isn't cruelty. Her volume rose. You don't even know anything. You're making up stories. I tilted my head. I know enough. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday once. Cafe near the lake. Hotel off I-39. Condo on Westfield. Emily's husband drives a gray SUV with a dent on the rear bumper. The fight left her shoulders. She looked small. Who told you? Doesn't matter, I said. What matters is you aimed at my dignity. You missed, but I don't pretend it didn't happen. Please, she whispered. Don't do this. We built a life. You built a performance, I answered. I'm done clapping. She covered her face. I was stupid. Don't flatter yourself, I said, and stepped out onto the porch with the suitcases. I set them down at her feet. You wanted out and a payout. You get the first, not the second. She stared at me like she didn't recognize the man in front of her. You can't just lock me out. I can, I said, opening the door enough to slide the envelope through. Here's the paperwork. Take what's yours and go. I don't have a place, she said quickly. Let me stay until I figure it out. No, I said. You made other sleeping arrangements weeks ago. Use those. Please. Her voice cracked. Can we at least talk about splitting things? We already split, I told her. I kept the respect. You kept the schedule. She stepped forward, but I stayed put. She glanced down the street, then back up at me, calculating, trying the soft tactics again. I'm sorry, she tried. I was angry, and I wanted you to chase me. I didn't think. Exactly, I said. You didn't think about consequences. Mark, I'm done. I cut in, firm but not loud. I won't stand here and give you lines to argue with. The key code is changed. You can call my lawyer if you want details. I won't engage. She sobbed, then switched, just for a second, into the voice I used to trust. I loved you. You love the idea of winning, I said. Different sport. I closed the door. Her knock turned into a frantic rhythm I didn't answer. She yelled my name. Then she begged. Then she cursed me in a low hiss. Then silence. I watched through the peephole as she dragged the suitcases down the steps, checked her phone, and tried to call. My phone lit up. I let it ring. She stood on the sidewalk for a long minute, then slid into the car and drove off. I slept like I'd been carrying 100 pounds and finally put it down. The next week, she tried every channel. Calls, texts, emails with subject lines like, please. I archived them. She left a note in the mailbox once, messy ink. We can fix this if you stop being stubborn. I scanned it into a folder labeled sentimental attempts and moved on. Emily's husband sent me nothing, which told me everything about his spine. Emily herself, however, sent one text 3 days later. Is it true? Yes or no? I typed, ask him. Then I put my phone face down and went back to inventory. Jake asked, you good? Better than good, I said. I'm consistent. My lawyer fast-tracked the final signatures. We didn't fight over plates. We didn't do theatrics about furniture. The joint account stayed capped, then closed. My separate funds stayed mine. We processed what needed processing like adults at a counter, not actors on a stage. During that stretch, she showed up once more. Daytime. Quiet street. Knocked like a neighbor and took one step back when I opened the door. I can't pay rent, she said, forcing a little laugh. Isn't that funny? I'm actually asking my parents if I can stay for a while. Good plan, I said. She tried one last card. Surprise softness. I told Emily it was a misunderstanding, she said. She doesn't believe me. I don't know what you said. I said enough, I replied. Let the truth do the work. She stared at the floor. I don't want to be the bad person in your story. You're not a story, I said. You're a case study. She flinched. For a second, I almost felt something. Not pity, just the ghost of the life we almost had if respect had been more than a word between chores. She licked her lips. If I ask you to forgive me, I'll wish you the best, I said, from a distance. Please, she whispered. This is me telling you no without yelling, I said, and eased the door closed. The divorce signed out cleaner than most. My lawyer patted the file with the air of a man measuring dovetail joints. You did what you said you'd do, he said. Calm. Clean. I'm done carrying other people's chaos, I told him. I've got machines for that at work. He laughed. You're rare. At the shop, Jake unfurled a new order sheet, leaned against the work table, and grinned. You know what I love about steel? He asked. You heat it, shape it, let it cool. It remembers the shape. People should try that, I said. You did, he replied. Epilogue. Here's the part everyone asks about, the scorecard. I didn't crawl into a cave. I bought a small house 15 minutes closer to the shop with a garage big enough to park the truck and a bike I'd been eyeing for years. I replaced the kitchen counters myself, not because I needed to, but because I wanted a surface that didn't have her fingerprints in the wood. Saturdays turned into a routine. Gym at 8, coffee at the diner where Dalton once slid a folder across Formica, then a drive out to the lake with no agenda. I kept my circle tight. Ray at the gym started pushing me to try a charity run. I laughed and then signed up. Jake dragged me to a minor league game one Friday, and we spent 7 innings talking about welding patterns and how people don't read labels. I slept. I ate. I didn't over-explain. Eventually, I met someone, a woman named Claire who runs a landscaping company. She doesn't ask for an audience, and we don't keep score. On our third date, she said, I like how quiet your phone is. I told her. I deleted the noise. As for my ex, I heard she moved back to her parents' place in Ohio for a while, then rented a small apartment near a strip mall when she came back. No car photos. No group girls' nights at rooftop bars. I didn't go looking. A neighbor mentioned she came by once to ask about me, and he told her, he's fine. That's all there is. She wanted control, comfort, and status. She ended up with a suitcase and the silence she picked herself. The last night she called, I didn't answer. I watched the screen light up, then die. I put the phone on the table, stepped out into my garage, and listened to the click of the new lock I'd installed, smooth and certain. That's it, I said to nobody in particular. The door held, the line held, and I walked away with my head up, not because I won, but because I refused to keep playing a game where dignity was optional. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.